Sometimes, one mistake can change your life if you learn from it. We all make mistakes. Everyone does. But what if your mistakes could become your greatest teachers? In this story, you will practice English and learn how every failure brings a lesson. Hello, and welcome. I'm very happy you are here today. This video is made for people who want to learn English. It is easy to follow and good for practice. Today, you will listen to a simple and powerful story. It is about a boy who lives in a small village. He works hard, faces many problems, and never gives up. This story can help you learn English and also learn about life. As you listen, follow the words on the screen. You can hear the right pronunciation and see how sentences are made. If you don't know a word, pause and listen again. This is a great way to practice reading and listening. You can learn step by step and grow more confident every day. Thank you for choosing Easy English Official. Let's begin this story together and enjoy learning English. Listen carefully, read slowly. Let's grow together step by step. This is your time to learn, reflect, and be inspired. Chapter 1. The Wrong Turn. Emma woke up early. The sun was soft and golden. She felt happy because it was her first day at her new job. She wanted everything to be perfect. She made her breakfast, a small cup of tea and some bread. She looked in the mirror and smiled at herself. "I can do this," she whispered. Her heart was full of hope. Outside, the air was cool and fresh. Birds were singing in the trees. Emma felt like the world was cheering for her. She walked to the bus stop with a smile. The city was busy, full of people going somewhere fast. Cars passed by, lights flashed, voices echoed. Emma held her bag tightly and checked her phone. The bus number appeared on the screen. When the bus came, she didn't think twice. She stepped inside quickly, feeling proud of being on time. She found a seat near the window. The bus started to move, and she smiled again. But after a few minutes, the streets looked different. The shops didn't look familiar. The buildings were new and strange. Emma's smile slowly faded away. She looked outside again and frowned. "Wait, this doesn't look right," she said softly. She opened her phone and checked the map. Her heart started to beat faster. The bus was going in the opposite direction. Her stomach felt tight. She whispered, "Oh no, I took the wrong bus." The words made her feel small. She wanted to cry but stopped herself. People around her were quiet. Nobody seemed to notice her mistake. She looked down and took a deep breath. Inside her head, many voices spoke. "You're late. You failed. You should have checked." But another small voice said, "It's okay. Everyone makes mistakes." Emma decided to listen to the small, kind voice. She took another deep breath. She looked out the window again. The sun was still shining. The city outside looked beautiful in the morning light. She began to calm down. "Maybe I can still make it," she thought. Her fear slowly turned into curiosity. A kind-looking old man sat next to her. He saw her worried face and asked, "Are you okay, dear?" His voice was warm and calm. Emma smiled shyly and said, "I took the wrong bus. I'm late for my first job." The man smiled gently and said, "It happens. Every mistake has a small lesson." His words touched her heart. She nodded slowly and said, "Yes, I think I can learn something from this." She felt lighter, as if a heavy bag was taken off her shoulders. The man helped her check the next stop. He said she could get off and take another bus from there. Emma felt thankful. "You're very kind," she said. The bus stopped. She stood up, holding her bag tightly. She smiled at the man and said, "Thank you for helping me." He nodded and said, "Remember, mistakes teach us to pay attention." Emma stepped out of the bus. The wind touched her face. She looked around the new street. It was quiet and peaceful. She took a moment to breathe and look up at the sky. The clouds were soft and white. "I made a mistake," she said to herself, "but I'm learning." She checked her phone again and found the right bus. This time, she looked at the number twice. She smiled and whispered, "Not again." While waiting, she thought about how small choices can change a day. One wrong turn brought her here, but maybe it was for a reason. She felt calm and open to the moment. When the next bus arrived, she walked in slowly. She said, "Good morning," to the driver and smiled. This time, she was sure it was the right one. She sat near the window again, but this time, her eyes were full of peace. The fear was gone. Only calm energy remained. As the bus moved, she thought, "Life is like this. Sometimes we take the wrong road, but we can always find our way back." She smiled softly. The wrong bus had become her teacher. She was late for work, but early in wisdom, and that was the real victory of her morning. Chapter 2. Reflection. The bus moved slowly through the city, but Emma's mind moved faster. She looked out the window, watching the streets pass by like memories. Her thoughts were soft but strong. "Why did I not check the number?" she whispered. She felt a small sting inside her chest. It wasn't anger anymore, just a quiet disappointment. She wanted to do better. She wanted to understand herself. The morning light touched her face. The sunlight made her eyes shine a little. It felt like the world was giving her a moment to think. She closed her eyes for a few seconds and breathed deeply. She remembered the moment she jumped on the wrong bus. She saw herself rushing, not paying attention. "I was too excited," she thought. "I didn't slow down." Her reflection started there, in that quiet space between regret and learning. She smiled softly, because now she understood mistakes are not bad if you use them well. She opened her small notebook from her bag. It was empty, waiting for her words. She took her pen and wrote slowly. Lesson 1. Slow down. As she wrote, she felt lighter. Writing helped her see things clearly. It was like her thoughts turned into soft rain washing her heart clean. The bus passed through a park full of trees. Children were playing, laughing loudly. Their laughter reminded her that everyone starts by falling and learning. No one is perfect. Emma whispered to herself, "Reflection helps you grow." The words sounded powerful, even in her small voice. She liked how they felt, kind and honest. She looked at her reflection in the bus window. The glass showed a young woman with calm eyes. "I'm learning," she said with a small smile. "And that's enough." Her phone buzzed softly with a message from her friend. "How's your first day?" She smiled and replied, "I took the wrong bus, but I found the right lesson." She laughed a little after sending the message. Her laughter wasn't about the mistake anymore. It was about the growth. She felt proud of her honesty. Emma started thinking about other small mistakes she made before, times when she forgot things, said the wrong words, or got lost. Each one had taught her something new. She realized that reflection was like looking in a mirror. Not to feel sad, but to see clearly. When you see clearly, you can choose a better path next time. She leaned back in her seat and watched people outside. Some were rushing, some were calm. She wondered how many of them were also learning from their mistakes today. The thought made her feel connected to everyone, like the world was full of learners, not failures. That idea filled her heart with peace. She took another deep breath. The city noise faded in her mind. Inside, everything felt still and quiet. Reflection was like silence that healed her. She imagined herself telling this story one day. I once took the wrong bus, but it showed me the right road inside my heart. That thought made her smile again. A gentle voice in her mind said, "You are growing, Emma. You are changing." She didn't argue with it this time. She believed it. Her stop was near. She closed her notebook and put it in her bag carefully. She touched the cover and whispered, "Thank you, little book. You hold my lessons now." As she stood up, she looked out the window one last time. The sunlight made everything golden. It felt like a sign, a quiet reward for her new understanding. The bus stopped, and she stepped down slowly. The ground felt firm and steady under her feet. "I know better now," she said softly. She turned toward the street, ready to walk again. Her steps were calm and confident. Reflection had changed her mood, her mind, and her heart. As she walked, she smiled again. The mistake no longer felt heavy. It felt like a story, one that would help her grow stronger every day. And in that peaceful morning light, Emma realized something beautiful. Mistakes don't define you. Reflection does. Chapter 3. A Kind Stranger. Emma sat quietly on the bus, lost in her thoughts. The city sounds faded as she replayed her mistake in her mind. Her heart still felt heavy, even after reflection. Then, a gentle voice came from beside her. A man sitting near her said kindly, "Don't worry, everyone makes mistakes." His tone was soft, like a warm blanket on a cold day. Emma looked up, surprised but comforted. The man looked to be in his 60s, with kind eyes and a gentle smile. His hands rested calmly on his walking stick. There was something peaceful about him, something safe. Emma smiled shyly. "It's my first day at a new job," she said. "I took the wrong bus." Her voice trembled a little, but the man just nodded with understanding. He said, "Ah, the wrong bus. That happens to all of us. Sometimes the wrong road shows us something new." His words felt simple, but they went deep into Emma's heart. She looked out the window again. The trees outside looked softer now. The sky seemed clearer. It was as if his words had cleaned the air around her. The man leaned slightly toward her and pointed at the map on her phone. "See this?" he said. "You can get off 2 stops from here and take the bus that goes back." Emma followed his finger and nodded quickly. "Oh, thank you. I didn't see that." Her eyes brightened as if she'd found light in the dark. He smiled and said, "You see, sometimes help is right next to you, but you must look up to find it." His calm voice made her feel safe. She laughed softly and said, "You're right. I was too focused on my mistake." The man chuckled gently. "We all do that. But every mistake is just a lesson wearing different clothes." His words stayed in her mind, a lesson wearing different clothes. She repeated them silently. They felt beautiful and true. For the first time that morning, Emma felt completely calm. The fear that once held her heart was gone. In its place was peace, gentle, warm, and alive. The bus rocked slowly as they continued their ride. Emma felt like time had slowed down. It was no longer a bad morning. It was a human morning. The man asked, "What kind of job is it?" She replied, "It's my first office job." I was so nervous. He smiled and said, "Then you're already learning, not just about work, but about life." His eyes were kind and full of quiet wisdom. Emma could see that he had lived through many mistakes, too. But instead of regret, his face carried peace. She realized that older people are full of stories like hers. Stories of wrong turns, lost chances, and second beginnings. It made her feel less alone. The man looked at her again and said softly, "When you make a mistake, don't run from it. Sit with it, learn from it, and move on with a smile." Emma nodded slowly. "That's beautiful," she said. "I think I needed to hear that." Her voice was filled with gratitude. As the bus approached the next stop, he pressed the bell gently. "This is your stop," he said. "From here, you'll find your right road." Emma stood up and looked at him one more time. She said, "Today, I learned something small but important. Thank you." He smiled again, his eyes warm like morning sunlight. "Keep learning, young lady," he said. "Every mistake is a bridge, not a wall." She stepped off the bus and watched it drive away. The man waved through the window, and she waved back with a big smile. Standing on the sidewalk, Emma felt a new strength inside her. The city looked brighter now, the air lighter. It was as if kindness had painted the world in soft colors. She whispered, "He was right. Everyone makes mistakes." The words didn't hurt anymore. They felt kind, like a promise of growth. Her fear had turned into peace. Her mistake had turned into a meeting. And that meeting had turned into a lesson she would never forget. Chapter 4. Adapt and move on. When Emma finally arrived at the office, her heart was still racing. The tall glass doors looked bigger than before. She took a deep breath, straightened her shoulders, and walked in. It was time to face what came next. The receptionist looked up and smiled kindly. "First day, right?" she asked. Emma nodded quickly, her cheeks red with nervousness. She whispered, "Yes, and I'm late." The woman smiled again and said softly, "Don't worry, everyone is late sometimes." Her gentle tone made Emma feel safe again. She walked toward the manager's room with careful steps. Her manager was a young woman with bright eyes and a calm face. Emma stood by the door and said, "I'm so sorry I'm late. I took the wrong bus." Her voice was honest, her hands slightly shaking. The manager looked up and smiled. "It's okay, Emma," she said kindly. "You are learning. We all start somewhere." The warmth in her voice melted Emma's fear. Emma let out a small breath of relief. She nodded slowly, grateful that her honesty was met with kindness. She realized that sometimes people are softer than we expect. The manager said, "Now that you're here, let's get started. Every new journey begins with small mistakes." Those words sounded like music to Emma's heart. She followed the manager through the bright hallway. The office smelled like fresh paper and coffee. People smiled as she passed by, and her fear slowly disappeared. She found her desk near the window. The sunlight touched her computer and her notebook. It felt like a small beginning, quiet but full of hope. As she sat down, she thought, "I made a mistake today, but I came here anyway." That thought made her feel strong. Strength was not about being perfect. It was about continuing. Emma decided to adapt. She wrote the word adapt on the first page of her notebook. Under it, she wrote, "Change, learn, try again." Her heart felt light. She remembered the man on the bus and his kind smile. "Every mistake is a bridge, not a wall," he had said. She smiled softly. That bridge had brought her here. The manager came by her desk later. "How are you feeling now?" she asked. Emma replied, "Better. I'm learning to move on." Her voice was gentle but confident. Her manager nodded. "That's the spirit. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. It happens when you adapt." The words stayed with Emma all day. She looked around and watched how everyone worked. Some typed fast, Some talked quietly, some made small mistakes and fixed them quickly. She realized everyone was still learning, just like her. When lunchtime came, Emma sat near the window and watched the street below. Cars moved fast, people walked in different directions. It reminded her of the wrong bus, but this time she smiled. She thought, life is not about staying perfect. It's about adjusting when things go wrong. The thought filled her with calm energy. After lunch, she made a small mistake on her computer. Her heart jumped again, but she laughed softly and said, "It's okay. I'll fix it." That was her new mindset. She began to see mistakes as part of her training. Each one taught her something new: patience, focus, courage. The more she accepted them, the stronger she felt. When the day ended, she packed her things carefully. She looked around the office and whispered, "I did it. I made it through my first day." It wasn't perfect, but it was progress. Outside, the sky was painted with orange and pink clouds. Emma stood there for a moment, breathing in the cool air. It felt like freedom, the freedom to try again. She smiled and thought, adapt and move on. That's how we grow. The words were simple, but they carried power. On the bus ride home, she looked out the window again. This time, she knew exactly where she was going. Every turn felt right. Every stop made sense. She took out her notebook and wrote one last line for the day. "Today, I learned to adapt." Then she drew a small heart next to it, a promise to herself. The city lights shimmered outside. The bus hummed gently beneath her. Emma leaned against the window, smiling softly. Growth had begun, and it was beautiful. Chapter 5. The Lesson. The evening sun poured through the window as Emma sat quietly at her desk. The office was almost empty now, just the soft hum of computers and the faint smell of coffee. She felt tired, but it was a good kind of tired. The kind that comes after learning something new. She opened her notebook, the same one she had carried since morning. The pages were still mostly blank, but they already held something special, her small steps toward growth. She picked up her pen and smiled softly. On the top of a clean page, she wrote slowly, "Mistake, wrong bus. Lesson, check first. Stay calm." The simple words looked strong in the light. They were not just notes, they were memories. She looked at the words for a long moment. They reminded her of her morning fear, her quiet reflection, and the kind stranger who helped her. Everything that had felt bad before, now, looked like a gift. Emma realized that mistakes are not the end. They are beginnings wearing a different face. She touched the paper and whispered, "Thank you, mistake." It felt strange, but beautiful. Her phone buzzed with a message from her friend. "How was your first day?" Emma smiled as she typed back, "Perfectly imperfect, I took the wrong bus, but I found the right lesson." She laughed softly to herself. The fear she had felt that morning seemed far away now, like a storm that had already passed. What remained was peace, calm, quiet, and strong. Outside, the sky was changing color. Shades of gold turned into pink, and pink faded into soft blue. Emma felt like the sky was painting her emotions, one gentle color at a time. She leaned back in her chair and thought about her journey. The wrong bus, the reflection, the kind stranger, the supportive manager. Everything had worked together to teach her something. "Growth begins with small lessons," she whispered. The sound of her voice in the empty office felt warm, like a quiet song meant only for her. She packed her bag slowly, making sure not to rush. Today, she had learned the beauty of slowing down. It was not just about checking bus numbers. It was about living with awareness. Before leaving, she looked around the office once more. The desks, the lights, the walls. They all looked different now. They were no longer part of a strange new place. They were part of her story. As she walked out, the cool evening air greeted her. It brushed against her face softly, like a friend saying, "Well done." She smiled at the sky, feeling proud of herself for not giving up. She walked toward the bus stop, her steps light and confident. The road ahead looked familiar now. This time, she knew exactly where she was going, both in the city and in her heart. When the bus arrived, she checked the number twice. Then she smiled and whispered, "Yes, this is the right one." It felt symbolic, like she was stepping into a new version of herself. She sat near the window, just like before. But this time, there was no worry, no confusion, only peace. The world outside looked softer, almost friendly. As the bus moved, she took out her notebook again. She looked at the sentence she had written earlier. Lesson. Check first. Stay calm. Then she added one more line beneath it. Keep growing. The city lights blinked outside like little stars. People walked, laughed, hurried, each one probably carrying their own small mistakes and lessons. She smiled, realizing how human that was. She thought about the old man's words, the manager's kindness, and her own courage. Every person she met today had become part of her lesson. Life was a team of teachers, if you paid attention. Emma closed her notebook and rested her hand on it. She didn't need to write more. The lesson was already inside her heart. The pages were only reminders. The bus stopped at her street. She stood up slowly, feeling calm and thankful. Her first day had not been perfect, but it had been real, and that was even better. As she stepped off the bus, she felt the evening breeze on her face. It smelled like new beginnings and quiet victory. She took a deep breath and smiled. She whispered to herself, "I made a mistake, but I didn't give up." The words felt strong and true. They filled her heart with confidence. Walking home under the golden lights, Emma realized something clear. Life doesn't ask us to be perfect, only to keep learning. And that night, when she finally went to bed, she smiled one last time before closing her eyes. Today, she thought softly, was not a failure. It was a lesson. Chapter 6. The next day. The sun rose slowly, painting the sky in soft pinks and golds. Emma opened her eyes and felt the cool morning air on her face. She remembered yesterday's lessons and smiled softly. Today felt like a new beginning. She stretched her arms and took a deep breath. Her heart felt lighter, and her mind was clear. She whispered, "I'm ready," feeling a small excitement in her chest. The breakfast table was quiet, with only the aroma of warm toast and tea. Emma ate slowly, savoring each bite. Her thoughts wandered to the bus ride and the mistakes of yesterday. She packed her bag carefully, making sure her notebook was inside. She double-checked her schedule. This time, she didn't feel nervous. She felt prepared. Stepping outside, the morning felt calm and alive. Birds sang, and the streets were waking up. Emma walked with steady steps toward the bus stop, feeling a soft confidence. When the bus arrived, she looked at the number twice. Her eyes smiled as she nodded. "This is the right one," she said quietly, and climbed aboard without fear. She found her favorite seat near the window. The sunlight warmed her hands and face. Everything outside looked bright and friendly, like the city was welcoming her again. The bus moved smoothly through the streets. Emma watched the people walking, the shops opening, and the birds flying. She thought about how small moments could change her day completely. She practiced some English words in her head: adapt, reflection, lesson. Each word reminded her of yesterday and her small victories. Saying them softly made her feel strong. She thought about the kind stranger on the bus. Every mistake is a bridge, not a wall, she whispered. His words felt like a gentle guide leading her forward. Emma looked out the window at the streets passing by. She felt a quiet joy in being prepared, in learning, and in moving forward. Small steps were turning into confidence. When she arrived at the office, she smiled at the receptionist. "Good morning," she said warmly. The woman returned the smile, and Emma felt welcomed. She walked toward her manager, feeling calm. She remembered yesterday's mistakes and the lessons she learned. She said softly, "I'm ready for today." Her manager nodded, pleased to see her confidence. "You're doing well, Emma," she said. "Keep learning and adapting." The praise felt like sunshine in her heart. Emma started her tasks with focus and patience. She checked everything carefully, but she didn't stress. She remembered her lessons: calm, reflect, adapt. When she faced a small problem on the computer, she smiled. "I can handle this," she said quietly. Her hands moved steadily on the keyboard. By lunchtime, Emma felt proud of herself. She had arrived on time, worked hard, and stayed calm. The small victories made her heart light and happy. She sat near the window, looking outside. People rushed, buses passed, and the city hummed. Emma thought, "I am part of this world, learning and growing every day." The afternoon passed smoothly. She helped a colleague and smiled at another. Each action felt small but meaningful. She noticed that kindness and patience made everything easier. As the day ended, she reflected quietly. "Yesterday I was afraid. Today I am learning. I am stronger inside," she whispered. Her heart felt full and calm. Walking home, she watched the golden light on the streets. Every step felt peaceful, confident, and steady. She realized growth comes slowly, like the sun rising each day. She thought about her mistakes, the stranger, her manager, and her own courage. They all combined to make her stronger. She smiled softly at the thought. At home, she opened her notebook and wrote, "I arrived on time today. I adapted. I learned. I am growing stronger." The words felt real and true. She sat quietly for a moment, feeling proud of herself. It wasn't just about the job. It was about life, learning, and moving forward. That night, she went to bed with a calm heart. The world felt soft and full of possibilities. She whispered, "Tomorrow is another chance to grow." And as she drifted to sleep, Emma knew one thing clearly. She was not perfect, but she was becoming stronger, inside and out. Chapter 7. Talking about mistakes. Emma sat at the small cafeteria table, her lunch tray in front of her. The aroma of warm soup and fresh bread filled the air. She looked across at her friend, smiling softly. Her heart felt light after a morning full of learning. She took a bite of her sandwich and said, "Yesterday I made a mistake, but I learned from it." Her voice was calm and proud, carrying a small excitement inside. Her friend looked curious and leaned closer. "That's great," her friend said. "Mistakes help us learn faster. They make us smarter and stronger." The words made Emma nod, feeling connected and understood. She opened her notebook quietly. She wrote the words she had learned yesterday: reflection, adapt, lesson. Writing them again felt like planting seeds in her mind. Emma repeated the words softly to herself. Reflection, adapt, lesson. Each repetition made the words feel natural, like they belonged to her. She smiled at the simple power of learning. Her friend laughed gently. I still make mistakes every day, but I try to learn from them. Emma nodded. She realized learning from mistakes was something everyone practiced, in small ways. They talked about small mistakes from their school days and early jobs. Emma laughed, remembering the wrong bus. Her friend shared a story about forgetting an important notebook. Both felt lighter sharing their stories. Emma realized that talking about mistakes made them less scary. They became small lessons wrapped in stories, not failures. She felt her confidence growing with each word she practiced, using the new words in sentences. Yesterday, I reflected on my mistake. I adapted to the situation quickly. The lesson I learned was important. Saying them out loud made her smile. Her friend nodded. Yes, reflection is powerful. Adaptation makes life easier. Every lesson is a treasure. Emma listened carefully, absorbing every word. The cafeteria was filled with laughter and chatter, but Emma felt focused. Her mind was practicing, repeating, and learning. The atmosphere felt calm and encouraging. Emma realized mistakes were teachers in disguise. Each small error brought a chance to improve. Her heart felt lighter, knowing she could always learn something new. She looked around and noticed others eating quietly, chatting with friends. Everyone had stories, mistakes, lessons, and moments to share. Life was full of small learning moments. Her friend asked, "Did you use the words today?" Emma nodded. Yes, I reflected on my mistake. I adapted, and I learned the lesson. Saying it aloud made her feel proud. She smiled at herself quietly. Even small moments matter, she thought. Every mistake is a chance to grow. The thought made her feel calm and inspired. The bus ride earlier came to mind. She remembered the kind stranger and the manager. Each person had helped her see mistakes differently, not as failures, but as lessons. Emma wrote another note in her notebook. I will talk about mistakes. I will practice words. I will grow every day. The sentence felt firm and hopeful. She repeated the words aloud again. Reflection, adapt, lesson. This time, she felt her confidence strengthen. The words were now a part of her. Her friend smiled at her quietly. You are really learning fast, they said. Emma nodded. Learning was not just about English. It was about understanding life. She finished her lunch slowly, savoring the food and the calm moment. Each bite felt like a small reward for her morning's effort. Emma reflected silently. Talking about mistakes is a superpower. It turns fear into strength. The realization made her heart feel full. She looked forward to the afternoon, knowing she would continue practicing, learning, and sharing. The day was not just about work, but about growth. When she packed her tray, she whispered, "Thank you, mistakes. Thank you, life." Gratitude filled her small heart, warming her completely. Walking back to her desk, Emma repeated the words once more. Reflection, adapt, lesson. She felt ready for whatever challenges came next. Her friend waved goodbye. Emma smiled and waved back. She felt confident, calm, and motivated, ready to face life and its small mistakes. By the time she reached her desk, she had decided one thing. Every mistake would be a lesson, every day a chance to grow stronger inside and out. Every mistake is a message. It says, don't stop, try again. When you reflect, adapt, and learn, you move forward. Remember, every lesson you learn is helping you grow stronger. Mistakes are not the end. They are teachers guiding your path. Keep practicing your English and keep believing in yourself every day. So don't be afraid of mistakes. They make you stronger. Keep listening, Keep reading and keep learning with Easy English Official. You are capable of amazing things. Step by step, you will grow